There was once a young man named Adrian Wells, a dreamer living in a small mountain town. His eyes carried the fire of ambition, but his heart carried storms he could never control. He wanted success, peace, and happiness. Yet every time he came close, his own emotions destroyed everything he built. Adrian had a brilliant mind. He could plan, calculate, and innovate. But when frustration struck, he became his worst enemy. He would shout at his employees, quit projects halfway, and spend nights blaming fate for everything that went wrong. One evening, after losing a big business deal due to his own temper, Adrian sat in his dark office. His desk was a mess, papers torn, a broken pen, and his laptop screen cracked from when he had slammed it in anger. The silence in the room screamed louder than his frustration. He whispered to himself, "Why can't I control my own mind? Why do I keep destroying what I love?" That night, he walked outside under the stars, questioning everything. The air was cold, the wind sharp, but inside his head, a fire burned. He remembered something his father once told him. "A man who conquers the world but not himself is still a slave." Those words echoed like thunder in his mind. The next morning, tired but restless, Adrian searched for peace. He began reading stories of great leaders, people who faced impossible odds yet stayed calm. And that's when he came across Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi's story struck him like lightning. Here was a man who faced humiliation, imprisonment, and violence, yet never lost control of his emotions. He didn't fight the British Empire with weapons, but with inner power, the power of self-control. Adrian read one of Gandhi's quotes that would change his life forever. "The one who controls his mind can control the world." He felt something awaken inside him. "Maybe," he thought, "I've been trying to control everything around me, business, people, results, but not the one thing that truly matters, my own mind." From that day, he decided to train his mind as if it were a wild horse that needed discipline. He started waking up early. At dawn, when the world was silent, he sat still with his eyes closed, just observing his thoughts. The first week was torture. His mind jumped from one thought to another. Regret, anger, jealousy, all screaming for attention. He realized how noisy his inner world was, but he kept practicing. Began meditating daily, eating simple food and writing down his thoughts in a journal. Every time he felt angry, he took 10 deep breaths before reacting. Every time fear whispered, "You can't do this," he whispered back, "Watch me." He started reading books on psychology, stoicism, and mindfulness. He studied how Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, ruled an empire yet stayed calm amid wars and betrayal. Aurelius wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Those words became Adrian's mantra. Months passed. Slowly, his emotional storms began to fade. He still felt anger, fear, sadness, but now they no longer ruled him. He learned that emotions are like waves. You cannot stop them, but you can learn to surf them. One morning, an employee made a costly mistake in his company. Everyone expected Adrian to explode, but instead, he smiled and said calmly, "Mistakes are lessons wearing ugly clothes." His employees were shocked. That day, they saw a new version of their leader, not a man of control, but a man of inner peace. He realized something profound. When you control your mind, the world around you naturally falls into order. But real change is always tested in chaos. A few months later, Adrian's business faced a severe crisis. A financial crash wiped out most of his profits. His investors panicked, his friends advised him to give up, and his team lost hope. Old Adrian would have broken down. But the new Adrian sat in silence, took a deep breath, and said to himself, "This is not the end. This is my training ground." He didn't react emotionally. He analyzed the situation logically, stayed patient, and guided his team through the storm. For 6 months, he worked day and night, often with no sleep, but with absolute calmness. He reminded himself daily, "I am not my thoughts. I am the one who observes them." Slowly, things began to turn around. He secured new investors, changed his strategy, and rebuilt everything stronger than before. The crisis that once could have destroyed him became the reason for his mental mastery. A year later, his company became one of the most respected startups in the region. Reporters invited him for interviews. When asked about his secret, he said, "My success didn't begin when I built my company. It began when I learned to build my mind." He gave a powerful speech at a youth leadership summit. Thousands listened as he shared his journey. Your mind is your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. It can build you or break you. The world outside will always be uncertain. But the mind inside, that's where true control lies. Discipline your mind, and it will discipline your life. The crowd cheered. Some even cried. Because every person there had felt the same chaos Adrian once did, the war between desire and discipline, emotion and reason. Years later, Adrian became a global speaker, teaching young people the art of mental control. In his workshops, he used a simple analogy. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant flowers, weeds will grow automatically. If you don't feed it with positive thoughts, negativity will take root. He would then smile and add, the best way to control your mind is not by force, but by focus. People from all over the world came to learn from him. Yet Adrian always said he was still a student. Because mind control, he believed, was a daily practice, not a one-time achievement. He still meditated every morning. He still journaled every night. He still had bad days, but now, those days no longer had power over him. He wrote in his diary, mind control is not about silencing your thoughts, it's about choosing which ones to believe. One evening, years later, Adrian visited a mountain he used to climb as a child. As he reached the top, the sun began to set, painting the sky in gold and red. He closed his eyes and thought about his journey, the anger, the failures, the transformation. He realized something he wished the younger version of himself had known. Peace was never out there. It was always inside me, waiting for me to listen. He smiled, watching the sun dip behind the mountains. Suddenly his phone rang. A young entrepreneur seeking advice asked, "Sir, how can I control my mind? I try, but I fail again and again." Adrian replied gently, "The first step is not control, it's awareness. You can't control what you don't understand. Observe your mind, don't fight it. Let it speak, then choose which voice to follow." He continued, "Control doesn't come from suppression, it comes from direction. You don't silence your thoughts, you guide them." The young man thanked him, and Adrian smiled, remembering how once he was on the same path, lost in noise, chasing peace in the wrong places. As Adrian's story spread across the world, people began calling him the Mind Master. But he always laughed at the title. He said, "I am not the master of my mind, I am its student every single day." He used to tell audiences, "Your mind will test you, trick you, and sometimes scare you. But remember, you are stronger than your thoughts. You are the thinker, not the thought." He shared one final message that became famous. The greatest power in the world is not to rule others, but to rule yourself. To stay calm when others lose control. To stay kind when others become cruel. To stay focused when others give up. He paused and said softly, "That's true leadership, and it begins within your own mind." As he walked away from the stage that night, thousands stood up and applauded. But Adrian didn't smile for fame. He smiled because he knew he had finally won the only battle that truly mattered. Mind control is not magic, it's practice. You cannot stop thoughts, but you can learn which ones to feed. You cannot erase emotions, but you can guide them. The one who learns to master his own mind holds the key to every door: success, peace, love, and freedom. Control your mind, and you will control your world.